Welcome to Baby Dribble, proudly sponsored by Sweet Dreamers. Baby Dribble is a fun, friendly and free parenting advice channel.
Hello and welcome. Today on Baby Dribble we're going to be looking at the exciting milestone of starting nursery. We're also joined by our special guest Jane Ness. Jane is a nursery manager with many years experience, so she's very well qualified to talk to us about the ins and outs of nursery life and how to prepare our little ones for the next step. So thank you for coming to talk to us.
Okay.
So Jane, how many years of experience have you in the nursery industry?
I have, under my belt, 43 years.
43 years.
In all.
Wow,
yeah.
That's amazing.
A mixture of different aspects of childcare. I've worked for social services, I've worked for a charity, I've worked in schools, and then obviously predominantly as manager of a nursery.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't know any of that. Perfect.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the nursery industry?
When I left school, I went to college and gained my then NNEB qualification, and then moved up to London and worked for a big charity, Westminster Children's Society, and worked in their nursery, and then came down here to get married.
Okay.
Worked for social services for 5 years, left to have my children. In between that, I did work for social services, sort of dipped in and out and did some counselling and sort of self-help groups.
Oh, wow.
And then came to the nursery I'm at now.
Wow.
Started off as kindergarten teacher in school, and then went on to become supervisor of the nursery, and then became manager.
And now look at you.
And now look at me.
So everyone's asking you the questions, are they? And you have to know what you're talking about. Oh, that's amazing. Well, this is quite apt because my little one has just started nursery, so it's quite nice to go through it all actually and just look at all the questions that we're going to ask you. So if you are a parent and you're thinking about starting your little one at nursery, are there any things that we can do at home to help prepare them for the big transition?
I think mostly it's when you're looking for nurseries or looking for preschools is to take them with you.
Okay, yeah.
Because they can then get a feel. They have no idea when you're saying we're going to nursery or preschool what you're talking about.
Right.
So I think it's very important for you to take them with you. And I think then once they've had a look round, is lots of positive reinforcement about how exciting it's going to be, and I think maybe at home things like lots of maybe turn-taking activities, because that's quite important.
We were only just talking about this on our last podcast about not sharing but taking turns.
Yes, taking turns. It's
got to try.
Yes, and maybe like to try and develop and promote their listening skills, because they are going to have to sort of follow lots of instructions and that type of thing, and sometimes it's very overwhelming for them. You could also maybe when you've made your decision on the nursery or the preschool that you're going to, is maybe try and pass it as many times as you can. Just look, we're going to be going there.
Idea.
You could maybe take some photographs of the outside of the nursery so that they could have a look.
Yeah.
And generally, when you've made your decision, a nursery or a preschool will give you a welcome pack.
Yeah.
So that you can sort of go over that with them. And we do something called an All About Me booklet.
Okay.
So that they can fill that in with you as a parent. So it's all lots of positive encouragement and reinforcing that it's going to be a fun time and it's going to be a good time, and explaining that mummy will always come back and get you. Excuse me.
That's half the battle, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just
them knowing that they're not being dumped here, they're being left to play, to make friends. At the mummy. So maybe another idea is to sort of try and do it right in the morning. So almost like a timeline. So in the morning, mummy's going to drop you off, then you're going to play, mummy's going to go to work or what, and then at tea time, mummy's going to come and pick you up for you to come home, just so you're reinforcing that they're not being just dumped and left.
No, of course.
That you are going to come and pick them up.
And it's a brilliant life at nursery.
It's lovely.
They play all day long, and they have new toys, and they're learning all the time.
And new experiences, that you as a parent wouldn't necessarily do because of space, because of mess, because
you've got to tidy and do the washing and stuff.
And it's for me, it's the social interaction that is the most important for children, because I think if you don't have that experience of that sharing and turn taking and everything else, when you go to school, it's a big shock to the system. So I think preschool or nursery, whichever one you choose to go to, the social interaction with their peers is, for me, the most important.
Oh, mate, there's some really good tips now. I like the one of taking a picture of the place, because that would be good to get them what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one. So we also had a question of, this is actually something I wasn't aware of, but what is a key worker's role in the nursery?
So each child has a key person.
Yeah.
And they have usually a little group of children. And it is their responsibility to, although all of the staff, generally have, the divided care of the children, the key person is just really a focal person for you as parent, but for the child as well. So that key person will help the child to settle in. That key person will do what we call like a settling in period. So she or he will help the child to make new friends. She or he will help the child to learn the sort of nursery routine and the domestics of everything. So where are the toilets? Where do we put our coat? Where do we? And all these things seem very simple, but to a child, it's a big thing if they don't know what they're doing.
And so they've got that one person they know they can go and ask them, and they're not looking at who to ask.
Who on earth can I ask? Oh, no, I know I can ask that person. And then the key person is then responsible for obviously liaising with you as parents.
Of course,
but also for sort of plotting and planning their development.
Okay.
And then recording that either in a learning journal or how we do, which is on Tapestry, which is an online journal.
Okay. Oh, wow, okay. And what should the ratio of workers to children be?
So it depends on the setting that you're in, and it depends the age group. So with babies, it's 1 to 3.
Okay,
With over 2s, it's 1 to 4.
Okay.
And then with preschool, again, depending on where you are, it's 1 to 8 or 1 to 13. If you've got a qualified nursery teacher, then it can be 1 to 13.
Wow,
but generally,
got their hands full.
I know, generally it's 1 to 8.
I can't do 1 on 1. 1 to 13.
So 3 plus.
Okay.
Is you generally most preschools and most nurseries will do the 1 to 8. Yeah.
Okay. And should our children be toilet trained? They don't have to be toilet trained.
They don't have to be, because you need to practice being inclusive.
Yeah.
So if you have a child, if you make that rule that they can't be toilet trained, you're excluding a lot of children, because some children may not emotionally be ready, some children may not be physically ready, you don't know what's gone in the family. It may be that they've had some trauma or some something going on that they just haven't been able to, so you're then stopping that child coming in. So we work very closely with parents to help them toilet train,
because then otherwise they miss out on the interaction and all that development side of things. So okay, that makes sense.
I mean, some children, for whatever reason, they might have additional needs, may not be toilet trained until they go to school. Which means if you have that rule, that poor child isn't
that'd be a big
going
shock.
to get anything. So no, they don't have to be toilet trained, and we'll work very closely. I think schools now are saying that they would ideally like them to be toilet trained before they go to school.
That could be something, if they are going to nursery and preschool, that you could work on together.
Yeah, definitely.
And and you can try and get that to happen.
Yeah,
it's a work in progress, all of it anyway, isn't it?
Definitely.
Okay, amazing. And so this is the big one. Most parents' nightmare is leaving your little one crying. How would you handle something like that?
So I think the majority of children do cry when they start nursery, and they either cry from day one, which I personally think is a little bit easier to deal with, or they come in absolutely fine, and then maybe a week later they start crying, and then parents are thinking, what on earth has happened? But it's because they think, didn't realise this was going to be every week. Didn't realise this was going on. So there's various ways of doing it. Obviously, it's very important, as I said at the beginning, to let the child know that mummy is going.
Of course.
She will be coming back, so therefore it's important for mummy or daddy or carer to say goodbye and explain, and they come back. The other thing is, if maybe your little one has got a comforter, bring the comforter in.
Oh, yeah.
Another strategy that we use is we will give, and this can be for toddlers and for preschool, is we give them a shoebox that they can decorate, and then they can put familiar things in from home.
Okay.
So if they're feeling a bit sad, then they can bring that in, and they can look at that and talk about it. And, the other thing that we may do is we have something called Percy Owl. So if they're struggling to come in, they take Percy Owl home at the weekend, and they take him on whatever adventure they do at the weekend. So then that sometimes encourages them to come in. But I think if you expect them to maybe have some tears, it's not so hard.
Just know that it's normal.
Know that it's absolutely normal. And generally, a lot of children don't like that handover. And they honestly, once you've gone, they do calm down, and they do settle.
Outside, out of mind a little bit, I can imagine.
I think sometimes it's easier. If you know that for the child, for the parent to sort of say, right, bye-bye, mummy, daddy, nanny's going, I will be back. For us, if parents linger for too long, it does sometimes make it worse. If the child really isn't settling, and they're really not settling during the day, either we do then invite parents to come in and to spend some time with them, so that maybe the child can see, well, actually, mummy's or daddy's enjoying themselves. Then maybe I do.
More positive.
It's just really being as positive as you possibly can.
I think I made the lingering mistake.
And it's so easy to do.
I think I lingered too much.
We all do it. Everybody does it. And it sounds really hard when you say it is better for you to go. But it is.
Yeah, I remember. I think I felt like I wasn't sure if they wanted me to go. But yes, they do. You leave, and they will soon settle down.
Yes, they do, and they really do. And a good nursery and a good preschool. If they don't, they will. You're sort of like the main carer and the first educator. So we work very closely with our parents, and so if a child isn't settling, and they're not settling during the day either, we will very much get together with you and say how can we resolve this? Maybe come in, maybe do the strategies that I mentioned, bring some things in, and they do work. They do work. They do settle.
It's all sorts you can do, isn't there?
There is.
Okay, great. And then the other question we had, it's the last one. We were just talking about government funding. It's a little bit of a confusing time. We're not going to go into the ins and outs of it, but generally, how does the government funding work?
So basically, all children are entitled to what's called universal 15 hours funding.
Okay.
And they get that when they after their third birthday.
Okay.
And then the new government scheme that has come in is they can have an additional 30 hours, which together obviously makes 15 hours,
Sorry, yeah.
which together makes the 30 hours.
Oh, I see.
So the 15 hour, universal 15 hours you automatically get.
Okay.
There's no, and then the additional 15 hours, there are certain criteria that you have. So you have to be working for more than 16 hours. You can't be earning over a certain amount.
I see.
So yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, perfect. We also normally ask a myth on our Instagram, and our viewers tell us true or false, and then we dispel the myths here. And we thought we'd ask them to you today, so we hope that's okay.
That's fine.
So the first one is, children become less attached to their parents. Is it true or false?
False.
It is
Definitely false. Yes.
Thank goodness.
Yes, I think because you're working together as a team. So we're not here to replace you. We're here to work together with you.
Yeah.
You are, the main carer, the first educator of your child.
Yeah.
You're coming in to tell us about your child. We learn from you. And as I say, we work very, very closely together, and we're not here to replace you as a parent. We're here to work together with you.
That sounds good. We like that.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And the only other one we had was, and we actually touched on it earlier, was you should say goodbye to your little one when leaving nursery. True or false?
That's definitely true. You should say goodbye to them, because they need to know. If you just suddenly disappear, especially if they're not settled, they're going to wonder what on earth is going on. You've dropped them off at this strange place with all these children, these strange adults. They need to know there's a beginning, a middle and an end, as it were. So they need to know that you've said goodbye. We're going to play for a little while, and then you're going to come and pick up, and eventually they will understand that. They'll understand that mummy, daddy, carer says goodbye. We stay and we play. And have fun.
Yes, of course.
And then we get picked up. So it's very important to say goodbye.
Okay. And even though it's breaking you inside.
It is so hard.
Just do it.
It is really hard to say goodbye, especially if, sometimes you sort of, the child is holding their arms out to you because, they want to go back to you. But it pays off in the long run, because it will help the child know the routine. Whereas if you just suddenly disappear, that is very confusing to a child and very unsettling, because they're going to think, is mummy going to do, daddy going to do this to me all the time? It's important.
Make sure you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Jade, for coming to talk to us.
That's
I've learned a lot.
Good.
We hope you guys have too. So as always, our Baby Dribble content is available on our website, via YouTube, and at our blog as well. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you again, Jane.
It's all right. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Hey guys, really hope you enjoyed this episode of Sweet Dreamers Baby Dribble. If you did, please share and pass it on, and let us know what you think.